You've heard all the hits from the iconic 1970s rock band. Now hear the story of their humble beginnings and rise to fame before illness, loss, heartache, and addiction plunged them to the depths of despair and madness. This is Soul Revival.
I'm Jared Billiard Ball McKay. I play bass guitar and keyboards and synth drums.
My name's James Henderson, and I learned to play the guitar, learned from my father ever since I was 17 and a half months.
We're very strongly influenced by family values.
This is a little forest where I grew up nearby. My pappy, he grew thornberries along the Talawacca. I believe families, like everyone knows that family is the most important God-sent vision that speculate that society builds. And ever since my father taught me how to play my magical instrument, I learned how to value my brother, my sister, my mom, and my daddy, my dog, my cat. I had 2 rabbits, and I had a snake.
I had been acting in plays and the occasional TV commercial throughout the 60s. The turning point came in 1971 when I was cast in a commercial for Burger Fun restaurants as the Burger Vagrant. James did the music for that, and well, that's how I met him.
And I believe it was around time of Transcendental Lords that we really began to understand who we were as Soul Revival.
We'd been playing bars and clubs all up and down the South Coast. And we were introduced to Sam Perry at 24 Records, and he was the one who introduced us to Lamb Musicson.
Unlike some folk musicians, there's Soul Revival was more integrated with Jesus, not so much as a religious band, but we use Jesus as an excuse to get pussy, pretty much.
Our first hit? Well, our first hit was Simply Madly Screaming Love back in 1975. That's when our career started to really take off.
My guitar, in that song, you know, the riff goes da-da-da-da.
Were ready to do away with the mentality of the 60s, and that mentality was drugs, rock and roll. We wanted to do something experimental. We didn't want any of that hippie stuff. We thought people were ready to embrace our brand of Southern music hospitality.
I believe that that's when the women started rolling in, and things got a little bit difficult for the 2 of us, and of course the backup band, who we gave a lot of drugs.
It was at this lake, at this park right here, this very spot, I met my first love of my life, Mary T. Scott. She taught me the ways of love, the ways I never had presented for me before that way time. Of course, back then, I had a lot of problems, a lot of demons to exorcise from my body, my being, my consciousness. See, back in those days, I was big into a drug called hammer bombs. I was bombing every day, sometimes 4 times a day. When I think about all the people I hurt,
I want to tell you something about our career in the midsection of our career. The midsection when we were at the top, you know, top of Soul Revival is when we got not only gold records, double, triple platinum records, we got quadruple platinum records, and we sold more albums than we sold more than Fleetwood Mac, more than Neil Young, more than the Bee Gees, although they had some good tunes. But what I think what really hit us bad was when Jerry's drug problem was in full effect. That was a terrible time. Terrible. I don't know how, what I would have done if he would have been overcome by the problem, because he was in bad shape. He had terrible cocaine up his balls. He was snorting cocaine through his pores in his penis, and he had acid in a bandana tied across his penis. Good old Jerry. He was getting into all sorts of trouble with them hammer bombs, taking them constantly, getting all hammered up. But seriously, drugs became more than an issue. It came, all I could think about was helping that guy get off that shit he didn't even need it. I wrote a song that captured everybody's feelings at the time about good old billiard balls, drug problem. And this is the only way I really know how to express the way I feel in this song about his drug problem. Raging across the water like a bridge across the sea. I really, 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 really hope you get the help you need. Poor guy. Another one of the main turning points in Soul Revival is when I got my disease. It was about the early 1980s. I got skeletonitis. My whole body was stricken down. Skeletonitis. Terrible, gut-wrenching disease. And all I could do was lay in bed. I couldn't play my guitar. The skeletonitis became who I was. And there I lied, on the brink of death. Things were coming They were falling apart. Soul revival, I needed my soul to be revived for once. I needed it. I needed it bad. I needed my soul to be revived. I said, Buddha or Jesus, someone come down and cure this skeletonitis. Alright? Here in this graveyard lies my drunken grandmother, who is in charge of my well-being, supported my playing the guitar. Every time I picked it up and went ding diddly doo, I couldn't bear her loss. She died of brain marrow cancer. And ever since that day, I started seeking vengeance with the Lord. And that's not something she would want. But sometimes I can't. I can't help myself. My drunken